Thank you, Speaker. The word unprecedented can be overused for emphasis in this place, but I do believe that this is how we can describe the challenges we're facing as a nation at this time. Just for some context, 60% of Canadians report that they aren't confident in their ability to feed their families. Inflation has hit a 30-year high with no end in sight and no resolve from this federal government to help lower it. Housing prices have skyrocketed with yearly housing inflation of 26% and a staggering 85% since the Prime Minister took power. Families rang in the new year with an increase in their CPP tax, leaving them $700 poorer this year at a time when they need it the most. Now is the time to address the affordability crisis. A concrete measure that this House can take right now would be to ensure that all Canadians are treated fairly in the taxes that they pay. That's why today I'm very proud to stand alongside my Saskatchewan colleague and others to debate the issue of this tax fairness. Speaker, Conservatives are asking this House to adopt a simple motion to enact the decision made by all members of Saskatchewan's legislature last November. It would amend the Saskatchewan Act to ensure that CP Rail is obligated to honor its tax burden, just like every other large corporation and small business operating in the province of Saskatchewan. This sounds simple and frankly something that our tax and spend Prime Minister would certainly be in favor. Why the need today for this debate? Well, because even with all the economic pain Canadians are facing, this government is continuing to divide Canadians by the region in which they live. Our motion was brought forward late last year, but was denied by the Liberals. The hardworking, innovative, and resilient people of Saskatchewan are tuned into this debate and are expecting a change of heart in the government benches, which will allow us to pass our motion for the benefit of the whole province. Just last month, the member for Regina-Louvain brought forward a straightforward motion to repeal Section 24 of the Saskatchewan Act, a clause dating from 1905 which exempted CP Rail from income, sales, fuel, and capital taxes associated with this historic main line. Saskatchewan believes that a mutual agreement between its government and CP Rail in 1966 put an end to this tax agreement in exchange for favorable federal legislation that improved the rail line. CP Rail disagrees and is now suing the government of Saskatchewan in order to recover taxes they claim were levied unconstitutionally. The position of all elected MLAs in Saskatchewan taken in November was clear. On November 29th of last year, the legislature unanimously passed a motion in favor of repealing Section 24 of the Saskatchewan Act. By extension, it fell on our federal parliament to do the same. That's why the member for Regina-Louvain put forward his motion just before the Christmas recess. Sadly, the Liberals rejected our motion, refusing to let it pass at that time. Speaker, provinces have the right to amend respective sections of the Constitution when rights and freedoms or the welfare of their people are in play. When Alberta sought to enshrine rights and land titles to its Métis communities, that province took action to amend its constitution in 1990. In 1996, in order to codify internal procedures of its legislature, BC adopted the BC Constitution Act. Between 1876 and 1968, Quebec, Manitoba, and the Atlantic provinces all abolished their legislative upper house, requiring the blessing of our national parliament. And multiple times in the past, Alberta and BC have established and then abolished multi-member electoral districts by amending their constitutions. In all these instances, the federal House and Senate recognized the right of these provinces to amend their constitutions and act accordingly. On the side of the House, Conservatives will always respect the jurisdiction of the provinces, including the ability of an individual province to unilaterally amend the section of the Constitution concerning its internal governance. In this case, it would be unfair to other businesses operating in Saskatchewan, including small businesses, if a major corporation were exempt from certain provincial taxes, giving that corporation a significant competitive advantage over those other businesses, to the detriment of farmers, consumers, and producers in our province. It's vital that every participant in our economy is able to compete and contribute on a level playing field. I'm honored to represent the people of Yorkton-Malvo, where gems of sustainable and innovative ideas are present in the DNA of how we mine our resources, grow food for Canadians and the world, and manufacture products that are shipped worldwide. One example, failure services, whose plants and offices are in Watson, Saskatchewan, in my riding. Their advanced filtration technology systems are second to none, and they have developed filters for the oil and gas industry that can be cleaned rather than thrown away. And now they're developing similar technology for train locomotives. I also want to mention Evra, a wonderful top-of-the-line pipeline builder of the very best pipeline in the world, where 75% of their pipeline is created from recycled steel. Saskatchewan has so much to be proud of, and we are contributing to the economy of this whole nation in ways that are sustainable and we're very proud of. Speaker, my Saskatchewan colleagues and I are very proud of the work ethic and determination to succeed in small and medium businesses, charitable organizations, corporate industries, and the mosaic of people who now live, work, and play in our province. No one in this place is attempting to diminish the vital work of CP Rail to serve our rural, remote communities and get Canada's goods to market. We know how crucial those rail lines are to moving our wheat and our other products that we grow and manufacture in our province. Conservatives have and will continue to promote and protect our national railways as really one of the only common threads that link our country together. And there should be more. I agree with my colleague from Louvain who asked the question about pipelines. But the rail line is a system that has served us well through thick and thin and since the earliest days of Confederation. And we need to sustain it. We do need to do more than that. I would love to see, and done properly, another railway across our nation. We need to work to develop more ways of bringing our products across the country to our shorelines and to the world. But when it comes to fairness and affordability for everyday Canadians, this House needs to know just how uncompromising Conservatives are. We here today, and I thank my leader and our party for the opportunity to focus today on Saskatchewan and this issue around supporting the legislature of Saskatchewan and the action that it has taken for tax fairness for its citizens. And so really, that's all that we're asking for, Speaker. There's no reason why a Canadian company should enjoy a permanent exemption from certain provincial taxes, casting that tax burden onto the residents of my province of Saskatchewan. I don't understand the silence, the quietness of the sitting government in this regard. They talk about being here for all Canadians and having an all of Canada approach. And today they have an opportunity to stand up with the people of Saskatchewan, with the government, all of the players in the government of Saskatchewan, and support this motion in the House of Commons. So I would certainly expect that we're going to see full support across the benches in the House today. We're simply asking for this House to honor Saskatchewan's attempts to ensure that all businesses and residents are treated fairly by this corporation. And I know that the people of Saskatchewan are watching today and certainly expecting that we will do our due diligence and responsibility and pass this motion today in our House. Thank you very much.
Questions and comments? The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Government House Leader.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. And as I had indicated previously, my understanding is that the motion will be passing. I'm anticipating it will be passing. And at the end of the day, I was taken by the members' comments with regards to, it was in November when the Saskatchewan legislature passed the motion unanimously. And then a couple of weeks later, on the floor of the House, a UC motion is used to try to actually change the Constitution. Does she feel that having the debate that we're having today wasn't necessarily warranted, that we didn't need to have a debate on a constitutional amendment?
The Honourable Member for Yorkton Melville.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the member for his question. Look, the reality is that this issue could have been dealt with much more quickly than it has been. Am I pleased that we're discussing it in the House of Commons today? Yes, as a matter of fact, I see it as an opportunity for the Liberal Prime Minister and members of that caucus to come out and say some really good things about a province that they, even today, seem to spend very little time reflecting on in a positive way. And so I would say to him that today I would love to hear more from him and from his colleagues in regard to supporting Saskatchewan, why they value Saskatchewan, and why it's important to pass this motion.
Questions et commentaires, l'honorable député de Beauport-Limoilou.
The honourable member for Beauport-Limoilou. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I find this extremely interesting, opening the Constitution. Finally, we have a chance to discuss this taboo, which is reopening the Constitution. And it makes me think, for decades, CP has had tax advantages, freebies, and so on. And drawing a parallel with today, how many other companies have this kind of advantage and pay little or no tax? Does my colleague think that we should study the issue further to make sure that no other taxpayers have to go through what Saskatchewan residents are going through now?
Okay, thank you, Madam Speaker. Sorry. My understanding is that CP has been paying their taxes, and this is a blip in the dynamic here that has caused us in Saskatchewan to do what needed to be done. Unfortunately, back in the day, as one of our colleagues indicated, there used to be more of a sense of accepting responsibility, and I believe this took place initially on a shaking of hands and not with the proper paperwork being done. So it's good that this is happening today. As far as other corporations, I just want to say, I come from a province, and certainly in my riding, an area where we depend a great deal on larger corporations to set the stage for a lot of the things that take place in production, mining, and manufacturing. And I just want to give a shout out. I am aware of the taxes that are being paid. I'm also very aware of the sense of responsibility to community and the incredible investment that those organizations are making in Saskatchewan. And so I would like to see maybe this government step up and do more.
Let's give it time for one more question at least. The honourable member for New Westminster Burnaby.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I enjoyed the member's speech, and I know her area well, Yorkton, Melville, and of course all of Saskatchewan. Good people. I have two questions for her. The first is why, when the Harper government was in place, that the Conservatives did nothing about this. This is long overdue. We're supporting the motion. Why didn't the Harper government act? And my second question is, given that the Harper government put in place massive tax loopholes that have contributed to what we lose every year now, $25 billion in taxpayers' money going to overseas tax havens. Does she believe now that that was a mistake, these massive loopholes that have led to so many of Canada's most profitable corporations not having to pay any tax at all?
The honourable member for Yorkton Melville.
I thank the member for his question. We've gone quite a while without having to hear the Harper word in the House of Commons. And in this case, I'll just say that, this particular motion that's come to the House has come from the province of Saskatchewan, from the government of Saskatchewan, which is doing their due diligence and making that change. As far as the tax havens go, I am greatly disturbed by their existence. And I believe there was a fair amount of fallout at one point with this Liberal government when it was discovered the number of individuals connected that were using tax havens. And I certainly think there's a need to clean that up.